These are just like a collection of things that hit my Twitter timeline that I wanted to share with you guys. And I think every single one of these can be kind of summed up to don't do this. So let's just get into it because there's a bunch that we're going to go take a peep at. And again, disclaimer, please don't send hate to anybody involved. This is posted by user RinL2D writing fraud alert retweets appreciated. We've discovered that our studio's products, Shizu's art, are being resold on VGEN without our permission for more than twice our rates. This is the VGEN in question. This is their art, right? You can see the fairy and then you can see this model. Boom, boom. And like, this is the commission price. What in the audacity? A user writes for more than twice? And Rin says, yep, he sold it for 1,500 euros. My heart hurts just looking at it. That amount could pay for one semester of tuition. And another person says, if people wouldn't always hand out codes through raffles out to random people, this wouldn't happen. And Rin says, yep, these kinds of events happen a lot lately. Stealing to resell is already one, but stealing to resell and then you jack up the price double of what the artist charged, that's just a slap in the face, man. And here's another one. This, oh my lord, please never send a message like this to an artist. This is posted by C Bunny Peep writing, respectfully, this is not how commissions work. And this is a DM. And the person writes, hey, I want to request a refund on the art I commissioned from you back in December. Your current work seems to have better quality than previous work, and I don't like that my art looks low quality compared to other art. Or if you could redraw it, that'd be great. I just don't want to use the art anymore after seeing others get better art. What in the audacity and what prompted you to type out a message like this and then send it? Just flabbergasted, honestly. C Bunny adds, yes, my art has improved, but I never put less effort on any of my commissions. I would have redrawn it for free, but not if you bash my art like this. It feels so backhanded. They also filed a chargeback immediately after. $35 gone. And Basil says, what the F is wrong with the OMG? And C Bunny says, no idea. I would have been okay with redrawing it for free had they not immediately filed a chargeback for the money before even letting me reply. Another user says, sometimes I worry this is going to happen because my style improves so drastically between model commissions, but I'm happy that everybody who's ever gotten something from me is happy too. And Peep writes, I worry about this too. I always feel self-conscious about old art because I'm like, I could have made it look better, but I didn't have the skills to improve it right then and there. It's because of all these commissions that I have been improving. People were talking about like dropping the ad, and Peep adds, there's a reason why I won't. I have stalkers who've contacted anybody who has issues with me and given them personal info about me. Otherwise, I'd already post their user publicly. Dude, that's actually wildly disrespectful though. Like, of course, artists are gonna grow over time, but there's also a beauty in getting like earlier art from an artist because like you had like version C of their art skill and now they're on like version E, you know, but then like nobody else could ever get the version you got again. There's like a beauty in being like one of the OG subscribers, you know what I mean? And you got the art you paid for. You paid for artwork at that level. That is what you got. Of course, you know, as artists draw, they will improve. You're not entitled for a rework down the line. Right? The only time it could be remotely understandable is if the artist delivered you work massively under the level of what they were advertising. This is what a lot of scammers do because they steal people's art, like art that is stolen, that is way higher than their actual skill level, and they deliver you something that is way lower than what they're advertising. That is called being scammed. But here, the artist worked really hard to deliver the commission at the best ability that they had at that time. And that is exactly what you paid for. Their skill level at that time you purchased it. Don't be weird, man. Impossible challenge, honestly. So anyways, I'll have them linked down below if you would like to go and commission them. And finally, we have a situation involving a chargeback. This one, please don't send hate to any parties involved. This one's a messy scenario because it involves 3 different people. The basic rundown is we have a post by user Tiger Lion L, and they are a live 2D rigger. So they made an awareness post of another user named Luna. So they write that after receiving the files for the model and leaving a 5-star review, she issued a chargeback for 437 euros. And she's adding the excuse of the model with clipping errors, but has ignored all DMs offering to fix the model. And she escalated the PayPal dispute into a chargeback just after debuting the new model that was rigged by Tiger, and has been using the model without a problem since. So here's some proof of the conversations, right? There's a lot of posted here, but on December 19th, 2025, the model was sent. Luna then asked to buy the full project file, and then a day after, Tiger sends the full project file. And in December, the 5-star review was left. It was a raving review, always attentive to detail, and incredibly amazing with any fixes and small changes. Thank you so much. So it looks like this was a done deal. And then what we can see, and there will be a little bit more later, right? A PayPal dispute was opened January 27th, where Luna writes, this is documentation of clipping and mesh errors in the model received. There should be no jagged edges or warping in the final product. And the rigger Tiger is like, wait, why'd you send a discussion through PayPal? If there's problems with the model, I'm available to fix them if you ask. I also can't message you on Discord. Did I do something wrong? And then Tiger DM'd Luna on VGEN and on Twitter and through email all about the PayPal dispute, being like, hey, like, what's wrong? Let me know what's wrong with the model. I'll try to fix it. And here it says that we're unable to cover the payment and debited 437 euros from your PayPal balance. And it's listed as item not as described. So people were asking for some clarification. The payment was made through VGEN, but on the PayPal platform because you can pay through PayPal on VGEN. People were talking that this should be like flagged with VGEN, that the random chargeback was unnecessary. The client also provided their side. And for context, the client actually made the artwork, so they were only commissioning for a rig. So they posted, I requested changes on this many times. I didn't want to impact your business with a harmful review because I have no qualms with you personally. You left out numerous requests for revisions. The model was re-rigged. You won the dispute for half the amount of the rig in spite of my belief you didn't provide the requested service. Were they trying to charge back for the full amount then? I paid for a tail that was not included as well as expressions that are missing. The rig I'm using is pictured on the right, the one you provided is on the left. While I appreciate you would have liked more communication, I want to move on and still do. As stated, pictured here and additional post below is everything that was changed about the model. So here we do have a side-by-side of the model where the right is their new rig and then the left is the old rig. So yeah, there are some differences and changes made. The arm is made thicker, the tail is there now, alongside additional changes to the chest and the wrinkling of like the side of the hip, etc. Some warping and some clipping issues like the tongue here. And they added the hair parameters had to be redone. And they added additional context. It's my art and I'm the artist. The rigger has been paid in full. As far as I'm concerned, the matter is closed. I wasn't happy with the product, it's been repaired and will be fully re-rigged. The rig file belongs to me. What I'm curious about on a side note is like, wait, the rigger has been paid, so the referring to the second rigger or like the original? Somebody was asking for proofs of the revision, so the screenshots aren't in order, but here on December 3rd, Tiger says sent the file and Luna's like, oop, I'm popping out. And they're showing the hip here where you can see like the skirt isn't fully covering on part of the body, and they say it's a little on the other side as well. And then they also say, oh wait, her hair goes in front of her ears for the turn, and then the chest and clothing is wrinkling a bit. And Tiger's like, okay, got it, I'll fix that. Then on the 14th, Luna points out some clipping with the hair, and then Tiger's like, yep. And then it looks like another version was sent because Luna says, it's looking better. I still see some wrinkles and things like that, and points out extra changes. So, I mean, looking at these screenshots, yes, there were errors in the rig, that's undeniable, but it looks like the rigger was very, very willing to fix the rig. Tiger never was like, oh, I can't do that. They were like, oh, yep, thank you for pointing it out. Like, so people in the comments were also really 50-50 saying things like, well, it seems like the rigger responded, it was sending you the file back with fixes, and then you decided it wasn't worth your time and decided to block her rather than talk through the issue. And other people are saying things like, yeah, you know, I understand the frustration, and how about we don't attack either side? Clearly, there were issues with the rigging. I saw there was an attempt to address it, but let's keep things respectable. Another person says, well, I do think you should have communicated with the artist. I also saw how frustrated and heartbroken you were after so many revisions and there were still all these issues, to the point that it had to be re-rigged on a serious time crunch. And other people are saying things like, well, it is normal for like corrections to be made in the rig afterwards because sometimes like errors are only spotted after you use the model. And the person who redid the rig came in the comment section saying, hey, I'm the person who re-rigged most of the model. A majority of the rigging had to be redone, remeshed, and cut up better. The model seen on stream since debut is the one that was fixed and received a lot of repairs to the texture and rigging. Very little of the original rigging is still there. And the rigger continues to add that likely a lot of the rig had to be redone, including the X, Y, Z body movements, and re-rigged it. People in the comments are again 50-50, right? Because they're like, still regardless, like it doesn't warrant a 5-star review and then to charge back out of the blue. I'm just curious about your thoughts because like it's definitely a really tricky and finicky scenario because you end up with a situation where, let's say, right, like you got a rig and you're not satisfied with the way the rig looked. You message the artist and the artist is enthusiastic in repairing it for you, but like you have a debut coming up, you know, so you need it fixed faster and it's not being fixed up to the quality that you were looking or hoping for. Like it is a tricky position to be in. I don't think the solution is blindsiding the artist with a chargeback out of nowhere. If there is a scenario, right, where you paid for a tail and extra expressions and you didn't get that, okay, there needs to be something done there because you are missing things that you paid for. But I do think like more communication would have solved it. At the end of the day, communication solves a lot of problems. It just seems like charging back out of the blue is just quite a drastic move, and at least it could have been brought up privately, like, hey, I'm not satisfied with the way this is looking. My debut is coming up in a week and I am missing a tail and part of the face. So what's up with that? If I'm not getting it, I will have to charge you back for the stuff that I paid for that I didn't get. But the rigger seemed really enthusiastic in fixing the rig. The rigger Tiger added some extra context. They said, and she blocked me. And then somebody says she claims she did ask you for fixes and paid for a tail that you didn't do. Is it true? And Tiger says she never sent any layers for the tail. I even brought it up towards the end of the commission. I would have rigged the tail if she gave me one. So here, December 3rd, Tiger's like, oh, didn't you want to add a tail? I'm looking and it's included in the price. And Luna says, yep, I do want to add the tail. I need a minute to finish the art. And Tiger says, got it. So now we get more context about the tail, which was not the rigger's issue if you didn't give them a tail. Tiger added extra context that was hidden under the post, where they added, first, I haven't won the dispute. It's still ongoing, since now it's your bank who will decide and not PayPal. Secondly, you never sent me the tail, so I could rig it. I would have done it, of course. I've answered all of your requests for revisions during the rigging process. Because I forgot to read the extra context. But yeah, at the end of the day, curious about your thoughts on the scenario. What would you do in this case? We can be empathetic towards the fact that you've received work that maybe was not up to the quality you were hoping for. Although, to be fair, the riggers' prices are relatively cheap for rigs. Rigs can go upwards of a couple thousand, but their rig prices are between 600 to 700 from looking at their VGEN, which is in the very affordable range. I think too much fault is given towards the rigger when the fault isn't quite due there. You know, like, yes, you can be upset that there are clipping issues. The clipping issues need to be fixed. That is an absolute given. But like faulting them for not rigging a tail for you when you didn't give them the tail until, I don't know, later in December, I guess. Because by December 3rd, the tail was not given. That's not the rigger's fault. They didn't get the tail. And if there is a scenario where you're unhappy with the rig and you want it re-rigged, like, discuss it with the rigger so you guys can work something out, you know? So anyways, I'm curious about your thoughts on a situation like this and all the other previous things that we've mentioned. What would you do in those scenarios? If somebody DMs you and is like, yo, your new art is looking way better. I want my work redrawn in your new art style. What would you do? Anyways, I hope you guys like the video. If you guys do, like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on Etsy. Don't forget to check me out on Coffee. And I also stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays and Saturdays at 6 p.m., Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. So I hope to catch y'all there or in another video. Peace.